Hi, my name is Kimberly, and welcome to my first video blog in a long time. I warn you, even though I put all this makeup on my face, at 6 o'clock in the evening, I am no professional. Now that we've established that I have basically no idea what I'm doing, let me introduce myself to you all again. If you're as new to my channel as I am, you'll understand why. I have a mild to moderate case of cerebral palsy, and at the moment I am sitting in front of you in a wheelchair. I'm typically not the poster child for this condition, as everything tends to work the way it's supposed to, except my legs, pretty much. My hands are slightly impaired, but they worked well enough to slap all this makeup on my face. So I've wanted to do a video blog for a while, and the first thing I had to do was come up with a theme, and I thought, well, I'm stuck in the 70s and 80s, so what can I do? One day last summer, I was rolling around my kitchen with a mop. Yes, I can mop, but that's another video. And I am in a slightly urban neighborhood, shall we say, in Stockton, California. I'll get to more on that later. But one of my more urban neighbors yelled at me as my back door was open and I was wearing a MuuMuu. Hey, you look like Mrs. Roper. So I thought, cool, I'm gonna go with that. So for the most part, I'll probably be shooting videos with you guys in a MuuMuu or some sort of nightie, which I have today. And probably a flower in my hair, because I just think they're awesome. So, everybody needs a gimmick. I guess I've got one. I have a lot going on. Several months ago in February, I was victim of a burglary. Now, before that, I had been shoved out of an apartment I'd lived in for 11 years due to a rental crisis I naively thought was mostly taking place in the state of California. But unfortunately, as I've been reading and as I had a friend who lost her home to a fire very recently, I'm discovering that it's pretty much happening everywhere. My friend, she lives in Oregon, and her name is Beverly, and I met her in the 3rd grade when I was at the beginning of being transitioned from an orthopedically disabled class into full regular education courses. Uh, so, Bev, I'm praying for you, and I know that you guys are going to get through this. You're going to find a house, just like I will. So basically what's going on is this. I'm from a little town called Lodi and another one called Woodbridge, which is right on the outskirts of Lodi in California. And basically it should be just called Lodi too. But that's where I was raised and grew up. And when this rental crisis hit, I went into the bigger city of Stockton, which kind of has a dirty quality to it once you get past a certain point. I, unfortunately, am beyond that point. And so when the rental crisis hit, and this kid, who was probably no older than I am, I'm 37 by the way, um, he bought the complex I was living in, which was very small, and he pretty much booted me out. I went to court with him, well, out of court, yada yada, and got to stay there for an extra 6 months, and looked and looked and looked for a place with and without social workers, and to no avail. So I got put into this place called Polo Run in Stockton, which it's a rat hole. It's bug infested. It's a drug den. There are people there doing bad things. And if you know me, you know that's not my cup of tea. And I struggled for a long time as to how the hell I was going to get out of there. I still haven't. But through divine intervention, and I feel I've had a lot of that in my life, a series of events took place where, oh, look at that, wind. We're in nature. Hello, nature. Anyway, due to a series of events, I ended up on a bus with a nice lady who told me she worked for a place called the Department of Rehabilitation, and I guess it's run by the state of California. And I sort of told her what was going on. It was after somebody had been shot there and murdered, and she had already come up on the bus and wanted to know why the hell I was living there. And when I explained to her what happened, that I had been shoved out of my own hometown in my lovely little apartment where I had been living independently for eons, and by the way, I was in another apartment before that where I was living independently, just in case you're curious. I have been out on my own since the spring after I turned 18, as that's the quickest I could possibly make that happen. I'm very high-spirited and very independent for a disabled chick. So I told her this story about what had happened to me and everything. And at that time, my apartment had also been broken into and ransacked. Thank God I was away. Thank God. I will be adding in pictures from that break-in to this video here. So she told me that I needed to get hooked up with this place called the Department of Rehab, and that's really when I found a little bit of hope, because she made me an appointment, and I went to see them last week. So now, in the middle of all this, I'm in the process of trying to start up to go back to school to become a psychologist, which, okay, I had a very abusive childhood. I'm a child sex abuse survivor. Most of the kids in my family are. And I entered therapy for this at the age of 6. Um, I was helped a lot by my therapist. But something that happened while I was in session is that it was a group setting, and I began to help other people and other kids around me. And it was at that point that my therapist, hello, Dr. Benner, yes, I'm grown up and still friends with my childhood therapist. Um, she was the first one to tell me that she felt when I grew up that I was going to be a psychologist. And that's really when the bug got put in my ear. Now, going through everything I had, um, it was bad, okay? It was full on rape and everything else that we all had to survive. There were many kids in my family who suffered this, and myself as well, but that's quite another vlog. Um, After that happened, I had a lot to go through. It's not something that ever really goes away entirely, and you don't heal from it overnight. You don't heal from it by keeping it in. It's kind of a process you have to go through. There were a lot of crying, a lot of tears, a lot of fear, a lot of nervous breakdowns. And so I never really was able to finish school between all of that and my disability, which causes me to become stiff and somewhat ill in the wintertime. I was never really able to finish my schooling the way I wanted. I had tried working with the school district here on and off, a lot on a volunteer basis, but when I was growing up, the school system wasn't so great to me, and that's another video. At least in Lodi it wasn't. That's another video also. There was a lot of emotional and verbal abuse involved, and it was the 1980s, and the city of Lodi and the Lodi Unified School District were just not able to take in and teach disabled children properly. And so that's what went on. And I carried that with me for the longest time. And so I tried to work with those kids as I grew up. And as much as I loved them, there was too much emotion attached to it. It just didn't quite work. Didn't quite work. And when my last apartment was taken from me, I just broke down. And that was it. I left a lot of people behind. A handful of new people came into my life, and here I am. So last week I went to the Department of Rehabilitation, and I did my first appointment with my job assignment counselor. And so I am now starting at 37 years of age to go back to school. And my intermediate goal for myself at this time is a master's degree in social sciences. But I'm going to need employment the whole time I'm studying because I need to free myself from the apartment where I'm being forced to live after this terrible break-in. It's not safe. I can't sleep there. I come back into Lodi at nighttime and I sleep wherever I can. But the catalyst for it, I just, I had to make it stop. It all had to stop. And it's time for me to get out there and make something of myself. And really, as far as video blogs go, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. But I figure we'll get better at it together. I do watch a couple of YouTubers. The first one I want to give a shout out to is the makeup girl, Sabrina. Have you guys heard of Sabrina? She does historically accurate makeup tutorials. And being that I have cerebral palsy, I've been watching her tutorials and teaching myself to do makeup with brushes because until this point, believe it or not, my niece, I have a few nieces, but my oldest niece, who is, weirdly enough, 2 years older than I am, had taught me to apply makeup with my fingers. But now I'm teaching myself to use brushes, thanks to Sabrina. I don't know about being historically accurate, but I'm going with what I feel works with my face most of the time. And I have my MuuMuu gimmick, and I'm quite literally just rolling with it. So, hello world. The other YouTuber that I've been following very recently lately is a lady by the name of Jessica Kelgren Fozzard, I think. And she's all the way in England, and she is a vintage blogger. She does wonderful videos, but she also has disabilities. She is deaf to a degree and blind in one eye and has all sorts of illnesses that just would keep anybody down. And so, Jessica, I've been watching you and you inspire me. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing, but if you can do it, I can do it. And so I'm going to start going to school, probably within the next few weeks, but if not, spring term. And I am damn determined to just become a psychologist. I have let too much time pass, and I know I'm going to do bigger things in my life, and I just have to go for it, damn it. I have to freaking go for it. That's all there is to say. I do want to give some shout outs while I'm doing this thing to my nephew, Bear, who is basically my child. I was present for his birth, held him before his mother did. I want to give a big shout out because he has walking pneumonia, and I just want to send love in his direction. So, hi, Bear. Love you, you little monster. I always told you if I sold out, I was going to take you with me. And also to my friend Emma, who has a wedding anniversary coming up. It'll be her first wedding anniversary to her husband, Michael. I just want to say, I love you. Thank you for coming into my life. Thank you for playing Queen Ozma. And thank you most of all for being my friend. You'll see me again, but it'll be after I get it together. And I'm definitely working on it. Definitely. To my friend Joe, I'm going to do it. This is what I'm going to make of myself, and the change is largely because of you and the boys, and I want you to know it. I want you to know it. I love you as much as I always have, and I always will. So, Tuesday, I'll be going back to my old junior college to find out where the hell I stand as far as schooling goes, and it goes from there. Other than that, my ambitions for this channel, definitely disability and child abuse awareness in different facets. But I also want to talk about different movies and areas of 1980s and 90s, maybe a little bit of 70s pop culture that sort of affected my life and affected who I became. Yes, Emma, if you'll notice, I'm wearing green today. Wonder why that could be. So I hope you guys enjoy my channel, and I love you all to bits. Bye.